Hello there and welcome to Black Jackal Gaming. We're going to take a look at Chief Librarian Tigurius and the best unit that you can possibly join him with. He's got a really good psychic attack, with his Witchfire attack being supercharged in comparison to the other librarians, and he brings a good feel no pain to the units. He's one of the only characters that can join this unit, and he has basically an inbuilt stealth ability that actually works in combat as well. He's got once battle round free use of certain strats as well, which is really useful. Taking a look at the datasheet, he comes in at 75 points and he is an epic hero, so you can only include him once in your army. Here's a profile of movement 6, toughness 4, 3 up save, 4 wounds, leadership 6 and 1 objective control. And he comes with a 4 up and vulnerable save. For his range profile, he comes with a ballistic skill 2. He does have a bolt pistol, but it's not really worth talking about, so we'll go straight on to his psychic attacks. So he comes with the Storm of the Emperor's Wrath, and his standard Witchfire attack comes with the Blast and Psychic keywords. It has an 18-inch range, D6 attacks, Strength 6, minus 2 AP, and 2 damage. Then you have the Focus Witchfire. This again comes with Blast and Psychic, but this time it is hazardous, so when you do your hazardous check, a roll of 1 will cause 3 mortal wounds to be done on Tigurius. Again, it comes with an 18-inch range, but this time it's 2d6, which is very nice. Strength 6, minus 2 AP, 2 damage. For his melee profile, it's slightly worse at weapon skill 3. He comes with a Rod of Tigurius, which is a psychic weapon. This comes in at 5 attacks, strength 7, minus 2 AP, and d3 damage. He comes with 2 abilities, the first being Hood of Hellfire. When leading a unit, the unit will gain the Feel No Pain 4+ against psychic attacks and mortal wounds, which is very nice. His second ability is a Master of Prescience. This is essentially stealth, so when he's leading a unit, any enemy hit rolls subtract 1 to them. This is for range and melee. And also, once per battle round, you can use either counter-offensive, overwatch, go to ground, or heroic intervention for 0 CP, which is a very nice buff for your unit that he's leading. So what buffs and combos can you give to Tigurius? So he can't be given any war gear enhancements because he is an epic hero, so you can only use the abilities that are on his datasheet. His main purpose is essentially to babysit a unit, giving them that -1 to hit, as well as the Feel No Pain against mortal wounds and psychic attacks, adding a little bit more durability to certain units. His ability for once a battle round to use a stratagem is quite good for Blade Guard if you're using heroic intervention or counter-offensive, and if you're using Desolators, the Overwatch ability is really nice for them. Now there is a limited amount of characters that can join the Desolation Squad, and he's one of them, so he's quite a good option because he adds a lot of durability to the squad, as well as having that free use of that stratagem. You can also buff the squad further by including a Hail Strike and targeting the same target. This will add an extra AP to all attacks into that target. Now if you're using your target priority and movement correctly, you'll be able to use the Lieutenant with the Combi Bolter, and he will give you the reroll of wound rolls of 1 on the priority objective. So if you're targeting units on this objective with the Hail Strike and an Oaths of Moment, you are going to have 4 rerolls to hit, an additional AP, and reroll and wound rolls of 1, which is a really nice buff to give to a unit that's got a lot of firepower they can push out. If you do pair him with the Desolators, which is a great choice, then they do well into really large T3 units. That's probably their target of choice. They do well into T4 units, and if you've got the Super Crack, they can hit heavier targets. But if you are targeting the lighter large units, they can do a lot of damage. So if you're only really using the buffs from Tigurius and potentially Oaths of Moment, but not even Oaths of Moment, if you're only using his abilities, for the Super Frag you're going to get a total of 32 shots into your 20 Termagants unit. This is if you're stationary, and you're going to be pushing through over 11 failed saves into the unit. Then with your Castellan Launcher you've got another 15 shots, leading to another 5.5 failed saves. Your Wenger Launcher on your Sergeant will be a total of 8 shots for another 4 to 5 failed saves. Then you've got that beautiful Witchfire Focused with its 2d6 attacks plus blast, so you've got potentially 11 shots really on average for another 7 to 8 failed saves. So in total for 1 round of shooting you've got 27 to 31 dead Termagants, so this is a really good way to target these guys and knock them out. For your out of sight shooting, for your super frag, yes, Castellan launcher I should say actually, it also ignores cover, so it makes it even better to push through these wounds and make sure the unit is dead. Now this is with no further detachment buffs or stratagems as well, so you can actually push out even more damage if they are in cover, or they do have abilities going off where they've got funeral pains or potentially minuses to be hit. These guys are really going to be able to tear up these T3 units. We'll take a look at the detachments that can get the best out of this combination, and one of the stratagems that will give the most value for money from that detachment. First we have Shield Anvil, which is the Imperial Fist detachment. For weapons with the heavy keyword already, you're going to get +1 to wound when remaining stationary. If it doesn't have the heavy keyword, then you're going to gain the heavy keyword, so that +1 to your ballistic skill when you are stationary. There's then a really nice stratagem called Battle Drill Recall. This is a great stratagem, one of the best in the Codex probably, and it gives you sustained hit 1, and if you're stationary you critically hit on a 5. So you've got a substantial amount of shots that you can fire when stationary, and you're going to be critically hitting on a 5 for sustained hits, and if you're going into your awesome moment target, you can really re-roll a lot of your hit rolls to make sure you are getting those sustained hits, so you can really ramp up the amount of firepower you can put down onto a unit. Next up we have Iron Storm. This is the Iron Hands detachment. The detachment rule allows you to re-roll a hit, wound or damage roll for each unit. Now that's not the best of buffs for this unit really, but then there's a strategy called Mercier's Weakness, which is quite good. It gives you sustained hits 1 when you're targeting units that are below starting strength. So again, very good to have sustained hits on a unit that is going to be averaging really 40 to 50 shots every time it shoots. Next up we have Firestorm, which is the Salamander's detachment. The detachment rule gives you assault keyword for your ranged weapons, and when you're within 12 inches you get +1 strength. So if anyone's getting up close into your grill, you can have the ability to punch through their armor. There's quite a nice stratagem called Crucible of Battle. So when you're within 6 inches of a unit, you get +1 to wound, which is really nice because a lot of your weapons are relatively low in strength. So it allows you to level up and shoot into those tougher to hit targets. Next up we have Vanguard, which is the Raven Guard detachment. The detachment rule grants you stealth, which is -1 to be hit from ranged attacks, and you get benefits of cover, so you get to reduce that incoming AP. There's a really nice stratagem called Strike from Shadows, which increases your ballistic skill by 1, and you gain an additional AP when you're outside of 12 inches. If you manage to kill a model from the unit you've targeted, you can force a battle shock test as well. Finally, we have the Gladius detachment, which is the Ultramarines detachment. This gives you your different combat doctrines, so you get the ability to advance and charge, fall back and shoot, and advance and still be able to shoot. There's quite a nice stratagem here for your Desolators called Storm of Fire. This allows you to ignore cover saves, and you get that additional -1 AP when you're in the Devastator doctrine, which is really nice. So the two best ones really are the Gladius, giving you the combat doctrine, so you've still got the Storm of Fire, which ignores cover and grants you the additional AP, and if you do get charged you have the ability to overwatch for 0 CP, and then in your turn you can potentially fall back and still be able to shoot, which is really nice. The other one is the Shield Anvil, because these guys aren't going to be moving around that much in the game, so giving heavy to all your weapons for that +1 to hit, and then the ones that do have heavy getting that +1 to wound is really nice, and then having that Battle Drill Recall for sustained hits, and if you're stationary it critically hits on 5s, so you've got a substantial amount of shots you can pump out and then get sustained hits on, especially if you're rolling into your awesome moment target, so you can really fish for those additional 5 and 6s to get all those additional hits, which is really good. There's not many characters that can join the Desolators. You've probably got the Apothecary to bring one back every turn, and then you could give them a cheap ancient maybe and give them an enhancement to get a little bit more out of them. But the fact that you got basically a inbuilt stealth, you got Feel No Pain in certain situations, and you've got the free use of a stratagem every battle round is really nice. Plus his Witchfire focused ability can do a lot of damage, being 2d6 attacks, being strength 6 -2 AP 2 damage. He brings a lot to the squad, and the squad's already quite expensive at 200 points for 5 men, so if you manage to babysit them and keep them alive a little bit longer, as well as pumping out an additional bit of firepower, is really good for the unit. Check out these other videos, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.